Story time. This took place at a crisis center, detox facility, mental hospital called Triangle Springs, located in, I think it's technically in Raleigh, but it's right near the airport, near RDU. It's like right in a nice intersection of Chapel Hill, Raleigh, and Durham, right? But it's really, Triangle Springs is like close to Chapel Hill. It's still in Raleigh, though. It's still in Raleigh, right? Anyways, there was this guy there who was walking around. Like, they put me in the overflow unit there, like they had one time before, which it wasn't just for people withdrawing. It was for all mental people. You know what I mean? And there was this poor girl in there that was like 18 at the time. I was 21. I was either 20 or 21. This was in the spring of 2019, I believe. Winter or spring. There was this girl in there that like got a hold of something somehow, and she trigger warning, self-harm, and she cut her legs like all the way down, and her arms. And I like remember walking past like her room. There was like doors wide open in most of these places. Like there was sometimes no doors because staff could like see you and everything because you're mental. And I saw the staff like crowding around her in there. I didn't like stop and stare, but I just walked and like glanced in, and like I'm tall, I can see over people, and I just saw all the cuts glistening down her body. Anyways, there was this other guy in there who was like trying to get at her, dude. He was like very creepy and very awful, and he was telling like every woman in there to come live with him. And I remember him asking someone, I think it was me or the homie Crash, like, hey, what are you in here for, bro? And he's like, I'm trying to find some pussy. Pardon? Who? What? In the detox? I mean, yeah, that shit goes down all the time. It's like if it's like a little side dish of poontang while you're in the psych ward, that's one thing from like consenting parties, but 2 dead batteries can't start a car, bro. To pull up in there with that being your like express intent, that's wild. That's wild work. So this man Crash was like 6'6". He was like club-footed and had a spinal issue. And he was kind of like hunched over, like scoliosis, and he was like stomping around with his feet like facing out, and was just like no shade to bro at all. But I've never seen Game of Thrones. I read it. I read all the books, the 5 of them. I wish Winds of Winter would come out, but it's probably not. Crash would remind me of Hodor from the book. Just a very large, strong, gentle soul, right? Crash got disability payments his whole life for all of his like physical defects and ailments, and he would spend it all on Xanax and heroin and crack, right? Heroin and fentanyl was his main thing, and he loved Xans too. Crash also loved to fight, and Crash lived in a tent city near what is that road near? I think it was off Capitol Boulevard in Raleigh. There's a tent city like near downtown where Capitol kind of goes towards downtown, I guess. Or I'm mixing up the road here. I'm really horrible with geography. But anyways, in the tent city, bruh, Crash had a trick as his partner. He had a female prostitute that was his girlfriend. And she would like, whenever they had enough money to get a hotel and stuff, like, you know, they had people to watch their stuff in the tent city. There's a lot of loyalty in those tent cities for real, and there's also a lot of grimy shit. But man, this cheese looks good. Check it out. Hell yeah. She would have to bathe him and like take care of him and everything, and like, and he had the connections for the dope, and he was also a very scary individual if you were on his bad side. So to make it full circle, the guy who was walking around trying to find some box, he was on a snatch scavenger hunt in the psych ward, right? He's looking for that detox clam. I'm sorry. Pardon. He got me to steal a pen from behind the desk, right, off of one of the orderlies, off of one of the BHTs, or like the receptionist lady or whatever, like, because all they gave us were the little flexible pens that you could like bend. You couldn't stab anybody with it, right? So I got Crash a real pen. He distracted and talked to the lady, and I just kind of walked by and got long arms like a claw machine. And we had scrubs on, And Crash showed me. Well, no, another lady had done this before. She showed me how to peg my pants. You thought I was going somewhere else with that, didn't you? Getting pegged is great though. Shout out, just saying. But peg the pants where you like cuff your scrubs, and so he learned it in jail. So you could drop some contraband down your pants and it get caught right there and not fall out, and then it's like a pocket and no one can see it bulging out, right? So I got Crash pen. He fucking taped it up to a bunch of the little other pens or something. I don't know what he did, but he made a shiv out of it. He made a shanksketo out of the pen I'd got him. And he told me, if you ever see me with my hand clutched down in my pocket, because the scrubs had pockets, right? He goes, that's how you know shit's about to go down. And you just need to stand behind me and watch my back so I don't get sucker punched. And yeah, Crash got into a screaming match with the sex pest that was up in there. And they separated them before anything could happen. But I firmly believe had that man put his hands on Crash at all, Crash would have poked him into oblivion. Fast forward. December of 2019, I'm in another. This one is a state-run. Well, it's through the UNC healthcare system. So yeah, it is state-run. UNC is a public university. But it's a place called Wakebrook across the street from Holly Hill. And if you have insurance and you go to Wakebrook, they will send you across the street to Holly Hill. Wakebrook is exclusively for people with no insurance and is primarily gang members, homeless people, prostitutes, and sometimes they're all of the above what I just listed, right? I had horrible experiences at Holly Hill, also known as Holy Hill, twice in the past, been there twice, right? Checked myself in. And so this time I showed up to Wakebrook. I Ubered from the, shout out my homegirl, Ashlyn B. Well, that's my ex's name also. Ashlyn Beatty. I don't think she cares if I name drop her here. Shout out to her. That's my homegirl. It's like one of my best friends ever. But she held it down, dude. I don't even know if she remembers this. She was taking her finals at, beep. I'm not going to say where she went to college because I don't want any weirdos fucking, I don't think anyone would dox Ashlyn. Anyways. Ashlyn got me, so rewind a little bit. My ex, Ashlyn's not my ex. Well, there's an Ashlyn as my ex, different Ashlyn. You get what I'm saying? Refocus. I had given all the bread I had to my ex because I just was not in the right state of mind. I was like, you keep it, it's safe, and you can send it to me if I need it, but I don't want to be rolling around with any bread electronically even. I sent her all of it. And I had just fronted out like the last of all my packs and everything. And so I was operating off of I'll be able to collect some debts from people. And bro, shout out the homie Aaron, bro. He drove to so many different cities while I was in this detox and collected 11 bands for me or something like that. Yeah, bro, that was solid. That was solid as fuck to help me because I had to pay off the homie. I had to pay off the man. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, dude. Ashlyn did pay for a lift from me from the Chapel Hill emergency room down to Wakebrook. In the ER, this was some of the worst physical dependency I ever had. I was coming off a Phenibut 1,4 BDO, drinking close to a handle a day, and eating 10 plus pressed bars a day. Absolutely 10, and then who knows if I was munching on more later on in the day. I don't really remember. But I know for a fact I would start my day with 10 of these fucking pressed bars, dude. Gnarly. And doing a lot of cocaine, a little bit of white girl. It's how I was drinking half a gallon a day and the extreme tolerance. I was in the UNC ER on Chapel Hill's campus and had gotten 2 doses of Librium throughout the night and then discharged at 6 that morning, right? My last drink was at 11 p.m. I get a 3 a.m. dose of Librium and then a 6 a.m. dose of Librium in the ER. I get out. Ashlyn calls me a lift, and I lift down from that hospital from Chapel Hill ER to Raleigh to Wakebrook. When I show up there, they breathalyze me, and this is 9 a.m. at this point. So, 9 hours or... Yeah, 9 hours, 10 hours after my last drink, and I still blew a 0.19 in full withdrawal. Horrendous, heinous withdrawal, dude. I was full body shaking, started to get really paranoid, started to end up hallucinating. they put me in the overflow, or like the triage, like the downstairs of Wakebrook is like they put everybody while you're waiting for beds to open up on the other unit, because you're like a danger to yourself or society, or you're in really bad, awful shape, or you're like seizing and dying. They keep you down there. You don't have rooms. They have some rooms down there, but you're just sleeping and like hanging out on like couches and shit. It's like very dystopian, like really like crazy, like a psychotic daycare. The nurses' station's behind glass and everything, like a freaking guard tower. Like, you know, they'll slide open a little slit and slide you pills if you need them. But I start running around and I'm like, yo, where's the music? Where's the music? Because I heard some of my homies' underground rap music being played. And then I kept seeing my ex in my peripheral, and I was like, yo, why are you in here? Why are you in here? And then I started freaking people out and like banging on shit and running around. And I didn't know what was happening at this point. I didn't know I was hallucinating at all. I was in benzoin alcohol and GHB withdrawal. 1,4-BDO is a prodrug for GHB. And this will all relate, I promise. Just bear with me. That was nice. So they end up sliding me a cup, dude, and all I remember is I couldn't see the bucks. I'm still remembering stuff, even though I'm in psychosis, right? Withdrawal psychosis. I couldn't see the bottom of the cup. I think there was 4 or 5 2-milligram Ativans in there, which maybe it was 0.5s. I don't know. I don't know why they would give someone that much, but I'm assuming they had maybe given me some prior and it wasn't doing much. I don't know. I don't think so, but I just remember it had like 4 pills in it, bro. Maybe they threw some antipsychotics in there or something too. I have no idea. But I get tardive dyskinesia from antipsychotics, so I would have known. And this also, those would not have taken me out of withdrawal. You know, they could have quelled some of the hallucinations, but it would have been like I would have still been like convulsing and freaking out. It was Ativan, I know for a fact, because then I was reverted to normalcy, and I was like, oh, hey, sorry about all that. I just lost my mind. That's going to happen again as soon as these pills wear off. I'm viciously addicted to benzos, alcohol, and some other GABA agonists like phenibut and GHB. I really need some help for detox. And all the nurses were like, we thought you were schizophrenic. And I was like, no, I'm a drug addict. This is bad withdrawal. So they were like, okay, we're going to get some people to come talk to you ASAP so that doesn't happen again. You know, and they didn't want to just keep feeding me benzos there until I got up to an established taper. Yada, yada, yada. Medical director calms down. Someone from like higher up in this whole facility. This is a massive institution, right? Wakebrook Hospital, or Wakebrook. I don't know what the suffix is, but like Wakebrook Crisis Center, I don't know. They were like, yo, we've never seen this before. Like, but due to the Hippocratic Oath, we are going to admit you, even though you have insurance. I was still under my mother's insurance because I was only 21, and under the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, you get insurance till you're 26 if your parents so choose to put you on their insurance. It's very nice of my mother to do until I was 26. So it was awesome. She got it through her work. Just side note, it doesn't really matter. And I was like, yeah, thank you so much. I really need this help. And they were like, yeah, like you're in such horrendous shape, like, yeah, we're gonna treat you. But the lady, I remember her statistically saying, I've never seen this happen before, but they're saying that like we're gonna give you a bed. And so they fast tracked me up to a bed, and all that stuff. But before I got up there, they had to strip search me, squat and cough, all that good stuff, and like do some intake stuff. And I remember being in this concrete room, ass naked, having to like lift up my sack so they can like and make sure I didn't tape anything under there and everything. It's just 3 nurses, and it was real cold in there. I was self-conscious. My shit was on a shrivel mode. And yeah, dude, they were like, who's doing this to you? And I was like, who's doing what? And they were pointing at me and they were like, you can tell us, you know, it's you're safe here. Who's doing this to you? And I'm like, what are y'all talking about? Like, who's feeding me drugs? Me. And they were like, no, who's abusing you? And I was like, what? And they pointed at me and I'm covered in bruises and scrapes, bro. And I was like, no, I'm a polysubstance addict. I go limp noodle mode like thrice weekly or daily, honestly. And I fall downstairs quite a bit. I would fall down the stairs in the trap quite a bit. The trap had stairs. That's how you know it was. That's how you know we were bubbling, baby. No, it was a shitty apartment that was just split level. But anyways, dude, yeah, they could not believe that I wasn't doing it to myself. I was like, no, this is from falling and like mixing sedatives with alcohol on the daily, bro. This is what happens. So they bring me up. I ended up being hospitalized there it was from December 9th, 2019 until December 27th, 2019, however many days it is. Salvation Army came and saw us for Christmas. I spent lots of detox Christmases and all that stuff, and birthdays, holidays, all that, but this one was different, bro. This one was intense. The cleaning lady there wrote me a bunch of love letters and was like, knew where the blind spots were for the camera. She told me she liked white chocolate, and I think she was talking about me, my complexion, and she like said I reminded her of her ex who had died from a heroin overdose. I think she was trying to she was trying to like recreate him and me. And I feel bad for not, I had a girlfriend at the time. Man, holy shit, some memories coming back from this place, man. A lot of crazy shit went down there. Me and this dude almost got into a very extreme fight. The police ended up taking him out because they interviewed both of us, and the social workers intervened, and they're like, well, we're taking one of these bastards. And the social was like, take him. This guy's trying to do the right thing. Because this guy was like a 35-year-old man, kept trying to tell people I was a snitch in there, kept telling he was gonna shank me. And I remembered some of my big homies teaching me to act crazy if you feel threatened. Don't ever let someone play you for a bitch, or else you'll become their bitch. And so I got up nose to nose with this dude and was screaming, get you on, motherfucker. And when he didn't punch me in front of everybody, he looked foolish. And then I wouldn't stop looking at him like that across the thing. Anytime he came, and if he got really close to me, I would start shrieking and be like, get the fuck away from me. And I was fronting and saying I was going to have gang members run up in his family's house and all that stuff. It was not good. But anyways, there's this girl talking about how she's a trick and she lives in a homeless encampment and she gets to bathe her boyfriend whenever they get hotel rooms. And I was like, is your boyfriend Crash? And she was like, yeah, you know Crash? And I was like, yeah, we were in Triangle Springs together. Oh. So that's how that story becomes full circle. Shout out, bless up, and gang gang.